In terms of technology, so many countries come to Kenya to learn how we have advanced in terms of technology and integrating it into everyday life. However, when it comes to gender equality and empowerment of women, while some progress has been made, Kenya is still ranked quite lowly globally. So out of the 189 countries of the world, Kenya was ranked 126. So you see that that's quite a departure from the performance that we are doing or making, or the progress that we are making in other areas of life. So again, acknowledging the progress that has been made in terms of closing gender gaps in education, for example, and in terms of women economic empowerment through affirmative action funds and so on. There are some gaps that have been noted, particularly in the area of women's leadership. So Kenya remains the lowest in the region in terms of where women are located in political participation and representation, at only 23%. We have also seen that with growing poverty, it has taken more and more of a female face, right? So more and more female-headed households are poorer than male-headed households. And again, that's the function of gender inequality. The issues of gender-based violence continue to slow down progress in terms of gender equality and empowerment of women in Kenya. And now, as you all know, we are dealing with cases of femicide that are somehow on the increase for some reason, which we are yet to find out. So I think those are the things then that make us get ranked number 126 out of 189 countries. So what is it that UN Women is doing? We are working with government of Kenya and under the leadership of the president, for example, to address the issue of women's political representation in parliament through the actualization of the 2/3 gender principle. We are also working with partners, such as the ones that are gathered here, to shift that female face of poverty through climate-smart agriculture that's targeting women and their households. So as you have heard and as you continue to hear, we are making strides in terms of how we respond to climate change with women at the center, empowering women with information, with skills, with resources, with small capital, so that they can turn around the farming business from just being subsistent farming that is producing very little to big agriculture business that's feeding not only their families, but in turning food security into a reality in the face of climate change. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anna. In view of that fact, and I know that you have gone to the field, you have met these women, you have laughed with them, danced with them, do you feel that this women economic empowerment through climate smart agriculture program has had an impact on the women?
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that. And we are not the only ones that are saying this. I know that most journalists we have also invited them to go and visit these field sites with us. And you have seen for yourselves the change that this program has made. And this is really with many, many thanks and gratitude to the people of Korea through the KOICA here in Kenya that has been supporting this program. So we have seen women firstly having a voice in governance matters. So women participating in county government processes where governments, county governments in these 3 counties are discussing county budgets, county plans. And so this was not space that women were used to, but they are now participating and raising their priorities in terms of investments in agriculture, but also investments in other areas that are important to them, such as health, such as education, access to clean water, and so on. So definitely, yes. Secondly, we have also seen an improvement in the incomes of the families. Right, so the data is spoken for itself. Household incomes have increased because there are now smarter practices that they have adopted, and they are getting more they are producing more from their fields, securing their food security, yes, but also having access to sell to the markets. Last but not least, we have also seen outcomes such as families that were so quick to just, in the face of drought and famine and lack of food security at home, the girl child would be the easiest way out of that situation through child marriage and getting maybe a bag of corn and marrying off a 13-year-old girl. But that's no longer a practice that we are seeing in these communities, because now they have money that they are getting from adopting climate smart agriculture and increasing their production, and then having excess that they are now selling. So the girl's child stays in school, and families are making more and more decisions together. There is increased harmony, and also decreased incidence of gender-based violence, because now people are talking at the family level. So those are some of the highlights that I would like to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What we need is harmony. People are talking. Thank you very much, Madam Anna. Ambassador Kala, please, would you take the podium? Thank you very much. I know that the Food Agriculture Organization is implementing their country programming framework 2022-2026, particularly in terms of sustainable agriculture, food and nutrition. Would you let us know how this program, VCSA, has contributed to that program? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and really good morning, viewers, and also, of course, distinguished panelists. My name is Carla Mukave. I'm the FAO country representative to Kenya, and let me really say, first of all, that of course, FAO, which is the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, is the lead globally, of course, to defeat hunger and ensure food security and nutrition. And in Kenya, of course, we are really supporting the government at the national, at the county level, but working very closely with all stakeholders to transform the agro-food system so that they are really more resilient, more inclusive, leaving no one behind. And actually, we are here because of a project that is really targeting women so that women are not left behind, and that is really sustainable so that, of course, we ensure food security and nutrition. And as you rightly said, Madam Moderator, we just launched, it was last year, actually, in July, our new country programming framework that aim really to capture the priority of this country, of this nation in the agriculture sector, to be able really to contribute to that transformation. And here really what is really important is that we have looked, and by engaging all stakeholders, that what are those priorities, knowing that actually agriculture is the mainstay of the socio-economic development in this country, and also it really creates opportunities to improve the livelihood of both the rural and also the urban communities. So, of course, in this engagement, some of the priorities that are really captured by the country programming framework is really looking again at really women, and of course those who are left behind, and bring them into the center of the agenda. And we are also looking at improving, of course, productivity, making sure that, of course, we enhance profitability, because it's really important to put really resources in the pockets of Kenyans. And we are looking, of course, of using new technologies, because we know that we can really accelerate if we are really adopting, and actually, again, we are really going to talk about it, because, of course, one of the highlights of the project that we are really, of course, today assessing is that, of course, if we adapt, because one of the big challenges that we are really facing in the agriculture sector is really fighting is climate change. We see the recurrence of drought, we see floods, we see pests. So if we are able to build that resilience, to be able, of course, to adapt and to mitigate to climate change, we will be able, of course, to produce, to increase productivity and improve profitability. So I really wanted also to bring the issue of climate action, because it's very key in our country programming framework, building resilience to communities, ensuring that communities really adapt and mitigate, and looking at really the opportunities that agriculture can offer for job creation, particularly for young people, young girls that we're talking about. So this is also very, very key. And I want to say that those are the priorities that we have captured that are really resulting for this close engagement that we had with our stakeholders, and that were also that were captured in the national dialogues that we had when we really promoted the Food Systems Summit. So maybe this is what I can highlight so far.
Thank you very much. And we actually have in the House youth that have adopted and are benefiting from this Climate Smart Agriculture program. In view, I think there's a problem with my mic. In view of what you have said, Ambassador Kala, what are some of the lessons that you have learned that you intend to carry forward? Thank you.
Yes, of course, it's really critical that we bring young people into the center of this conversation, and particularly because we know that agriculture can really offer the opportunity if we look at the whole value chain from production up to the consumption. We look at really the opportunities of really using, of course, technologies, because we know that technologies and digitalization is one of the areas that youth are really, of course, attracted. And of course, if we are able to, and we saw it with, of course, this particular project, that is really the women economic empowerment through climate smart agriculture. So what are we really doing here? We are ensuring that, of course, we bring those skills, we bring those techniques that can really allow young people and women to adapt and produce more, maybe in a small space. We know that one of the big, of course, challenges, particularly when I look at this project, that women were facing, because we are looking at arid and semi-arid areas, where again, of course, drought has been really impacting. And water was a big, big issue, and we really focus on that. Actually, I'm happy to see here the CEC, Kitui, and also the representatives of Laikipia and West Pokot, because, of course, one of the assets that we were able, of course, to share with the groups that we really targeted was really the water tanks. So water harvesting is really, really very, very critical, particularly if we look at the situations of the ASAL and ASAL countries. But again, I would say that climate smart agriculture, through those skills, and of course, looking at, of course, the value chains that the youth were able to embrace, poultry, kitchen garden, beekeeping, this has really contributed to, of course, raise the income, and actually, I would say really that governance of resources that is really so critical to bring the voices of women and bring the voices of young people into the conversation. This is really so critical, because when they are really in the driving seat, they can contribute to the transformation that we are aiming at.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. When they are in the driving seat, they can contribute effectively to the development that is needed. Dr. Im. Thank you. Dr. Im, you are part of the team that had a dream 2018, 2019, and went out there in the community to understand what was going on. Why are these kind of programs important to you? Why is this Women Economic Empowerment through Climate Smart Agriculture program important to Koika?
Thank you. My name is Chang Yim, country director for Koika Kenya. Koika is honored to be part of this impactful program on behalf of the government of Republic of Korea. We really enjoyed the journey. Why? First of all, this program aimed to address the unbalanced issue of women's economic empowerment. First of all, given the fact that women account for more than 50% of the population, and of course, in terms of the rural population and their significance in the economic activities in those rural communities, the potential is huge. Yet their real contribution to make change in those communities have been neglected and have not been well taken care of. Given the proposal and suggestion from our esteemed partners, UN Women and FAO, how the Korean government can tackle this issue so that women can be mainstreamed in terms of their economic contribution and also their contribution in building the peace at household level and communities really rang the bell to KOICA. We've been together for 4 years, and the positive, in fact amazing results are so evident all across the communities that I believe not only county governments and national government of Kenya, but I think Korean taxpayers are very happy and excited to see the change.
Thank you very much. The Korean government, the people of Kenya, the participating farmers themselves are very excited about the social and economic impacts. How do you consider that we can upscale, or KOICA can upscale and sustain some of these impacts that we have noted? You have particularly been to the field, engaging with the farmers, asking men and women to live in harmony. How do you think this can be sustained moving forward? Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, the very fact that the ladies in the rural communities have demonstrated their potential in practical sense and uplifted the livelihoods in those communities represent the possibility of this project can be upscaled. And thanks to the media houses who featured these great stories in Kenya, and of course that have been conveyed to the Korean public as well. And I think we will continue. We need to continue, tell this story not only to media but also through a little bit of data-based evidences, so that even the policymakers will be drawn to see the actual result by number. I think that will be one of the way, and we'll definitely continue the dialogues with the current partners and also the potential partners as well. I know some of the other donor agencies are already interested in working toward expanding this type of initiative, and I think that's the right way forward. And of course, KOICA is going to continue to convince our stakeholders internally and also other government agencies, so that this is something not only for Kenya, but African communities and even beyond.
Thank you very much. So continue the conversation and ensure that it's part of the policy. Thank you very much, Daktari Im. And having said that, Dr. Kimwele, you are the policy maker. Would you take the podium, please? Thank you. Dr. Kimwele is the Minister, Livestock and Agriculture and Livestock in Kitui County. And Kitui County, the governor and the ministers have been instrumental in the success of this program. We as the team recently had 3 hours sitting with the governor, and the governor was tasking his ministers to think about how they would sustain this program. Would you speak to us on how you would, as a county, sustain this program and upscale it? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and once again, good morning. My name is Dr. Stephen Kimwele. I'm the county executive member responsible for agriculture and livestock from the great county of Kitui. And first, I'm representing His Excellency, the Governor of Kitui County, Dr. Julius Malombe, and he has sent his apologies. He wanted to be here, and his commitments when you come to Kitui County. First is appreciating the partners as county government of Kitui for what they are doing. We are witness of the change which these projects once the women have been impacted. I've always mentioned that the families are happy, even they are multiplying as a result of happiness. And for sustainability, one, as county government, we have nominated a staff to be a vocal point of this project. And that's a senior staff to a level of assistant director agriculture. That's how serious we are. Other thing, in the areas where this project is, we have seconded staff. Those are extension staff. And told them, even not 50%, you should spend there around 70% of your time in this project. The other thing is, we are connecting these farmer groups with our extension. Because this project, once it leaves, we need to see these farmers progress. We are connecting these farmers with even other partners who are coming on board. So the approach we are using is an holistic approach. We sit down with even other partners and we see how we can connect, because we need to keep on and monitor these farmers. So we have put measures to ensure extension and attached the officers to these farmers and groups.
I think that's excellent, that the county has owned this program and has included it and embedded it within its system. I think that's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think also moving forward, there's been very interesting partnership around this program. It is under the UN, we call it Delivering as One, where UN Women brings its expertise on board, and FAO brings its expertise, and we have civil society organizations on the ground, Anglican Development Services, with understanding of context. And then we have, so private sector. So how do you think this partnership has worked? Is there something to learn from the way that this program has run and its approach?
Yeah, thank you. It is always important. During inception, we had to bring on board our partners, non-state actors, and we sat down and we were able to identify the gaps. We were able to know, for instance, in Kitui, the wards which this project is. Those wards, there were no projects in those areas. Therefore, we had to sit down with other partners to identify the needs of those areas, and coming up with these places we're implementing the climate smart agriculture through economic women, empowering the women. In Kitui is vast and it's hustling. We are the 6th largest, bigger than Rwanda. Therefore, I can tell you, for us to come up with the 3 wards, we had to do a lot of homework, and we are doing it with our partners. Apart from that, we have complementing things as partners. Therefore, even we at county level, we have something we are calling CASCOM, the County Agricultural Steering Coordination Committee. We want to sit down and avoid duplication, because there's a lot of duplication when it comes to projects. It's good that we spread out and make sure that there's impact across the county, because it is believed if you just concentrate on one area, then what about the other area? So you are not solving the problem. But when you sit down and avoid the duplication, we are able to balance these activities. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much. That we have little resources, but making sure that those resources spread across all the counties where we work and the country as a whole is important to us. Thank you. And we appreciate Kitui County and the commitment that you have towards this program. And so is West Pokot and Laikipia. Karibu sana, Daktari. Madam Grace. Madam Grace is the Director Socioeconomic, State Department for Gender. Madam Grace, you have responsibility for gender mainstreaming, especially at this time when the climate is changing and there's need to adapt. How does this project, and you have been to the field with us, you have sat in our project steering committee meeting, you have listened, you have spoken to the women. How is this program contributing to the national government's efforts in implementing gender-responsive policies and programs?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Tim, for inviting us here. My name is Grace Wasika, as has been stated, and I'm representing our PS State Department for Gender. She would have liked also to be here, but she's sent me to represent her due to the exigencies of her duties. So as a State Department, we've been part and parcel of this noble initiative, which is being supported by COICA. We even have a focal point. I came with him. Peter, can you wave to the crowd? Yeah, so he's our focal point for this project, and we also have focal points at the county level. We have our gender officers who have been inside this program, and they have a lot of, as a State Department, we have good stories about it, because this is an initiative that is supporting the government agenda, especially the BITA, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, where we have food security. This is a program that has really empowered the women, and you realize that their gender roles is to ensure that the families have food. So with this program, we have food security, and beyond the food security in those homes, we also have extra income that is economically empowering these women and men, because the program supports 20% men and 80% women. So you find that if we have the extra income, it supports, especially as a State Department, we have affirmative action programs, which include even the provision of sanitary pads to school-going children. So with this program, we know that then families will be able to support our school-going children, so that the government does not need to do an affirmative action to buy those sanitary pads. And also we have affirmative action funds through our Women Enterprise Fund, through National Government Action Fund, Affirmative Action Fund, where we support groups with affordable credit, and also we give them grants, we give them bursaries. So that means that if we can have families that are sustaining themselves, then the government can spend that money on other development agenda. Apart from all these gains that we are getting through economic empowerment, you'll find that even the universal health care, which is a pillar of the BITA agenda of the government, will be supported, because then families will be able to contribute towards their universal health coverage. And we also, as a government, we are doing a lot of tree planting initiatives. You hear our president has said that we need to achieve 15 billion trees by the end of the 10 years. And this is an initiative that is also supporting that. And it's also supporting the gender-sensitive technologies. And when it comes to matters care policy, we are doing a care policy, and in that we realize that if we can release some of the reproductive work from the women who are overburdened by work that is not adding value in terms of incomes, then we'll be able to have them release that time, so that they spend on productive work. So these labor-saving technologies like the water harvesting, like the energy-saving stoves, will, apart from conserving the environment, it will also support the aspect of ensuring that we have fuel in our houses so that the women don't go around spending a whole day looking for the firewood. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Grace. You are both a gender expert and an agriculture expert. Would you let us know what are some of the challenges of mainstreaming gender into climate smart agriculture programming?
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay. We realized that, from the field visits that we've heard from the farmers themselves that they have a limited capacity to access farm inputs. And you realize that climate smart agriculture is it's an emerging technology within the agriculture sector. This is not something that we were focusing on as a country, but because of the climate change that is happening, especially in Africa, we realized that CSA is a very key initiative that will help our farmers overcome those challenges of climate change. So you find that there are some of those practices that we are encouraging them to do, but you find that sometimes at their local level they are not able to access either the farm inputs or even the equipment that they're supposed to use to support their agriculture. And then the other issue is that there is low coverage. We are just doing the 3 counties, but as a state department, we've also tried to reach out to other counties and tell them about how women can be empowered through this CSA. So you find that the coverage is quite low and yet the demand is there. Farmers are interested in how they can minimize on depending on being dependent on the rain-fed agriculture, and also they would like to explore new ventures like the dairy goats instead of doing the dairy cows, because dairy cows are going to consume more and they may not give the farmers the same milk that the dairy goats may produce because of, the feeds for the dairy goats are lower. So you find that these technologies need to go beyond at least these 3 counties. And also we are having an issue, especially with the gender department. We find that there are many players in the gender sector doing various kinds of activities. So we find as a department that we need to do a whole government approach and a whole country approach to ensure that we are synergizing our efforts, our resources, to ensure that our citizens are benefiting and not having scattered efforts all over. So to cure these challenges, we've come up with the intergovernmental framework for the gender sector, where we have various thematic groups, and the group that I lead works on socioeconomic empowerment. So you find that most of the stakeholders, we would like them to channel their efforts there to ensure that our resources are well utilized. And then we also encourage that we have stockists, especially as Waziri has said in Kitui, if we have farm inputs, we support local stockists there to stock the inputs that are required to support that CSA. That will also be a good thing.